Welcome everyone to another episode of Coral Living. It's good to have you this week. Before we get right into it, we have a what do we call this? It's an intro, a promotional video. What is this? What are we watching here?
Oh, the premiere?
Yeah, we have a premiere video of a new It's Tom Starfield video.
Here.
We're gonna let you guys. We're gonna play it at the beginning of this video right now. Jeez, my wife is gonna kill you. She told you not to do that. She was like, "Don't let Justin do that." Bam, done. So yeah, we got a premiere. We'll let you guys watch it, and then we'll get into tonight's subject. All right, let it roll.
Not too bad at all. Hey, Gertie, I look pretty good with this beard. I hope you don't get jealous.
It makes you look homeless, and you look like you probably smell bad. I would shave that thing off pronto. Monster!
But you said that it looked bad with a beard. You said I should shave it off. What the heck, Gertie? I can't put it back. I'm stuck like this now.
Hey, listen, Tom. You know how I am. I just say things. I can't be held accountable. Because you decide to listen to every little suggestion I make. If you think about it, Tom, this is actually your fault. And you know what? I'm actually getting a little tired of being blamed because you freak out over a tiny little gaslighting. So I like to manipulate a little bit. Like everybody does that. You do too. For all I know, this was one big plan so you could try to guilt trip me. Oh look, this meme's got Chuck Norris in it. I actually think he's handsome.
All right, welcome back. I hope you guys.
Wasn't that great? Just now, that thing that happened?
That's a great little video. Oh God! I'm like, it's like, ugh.
All right.
Oh, it's all on my keyboard, and my wife is gonna kill you.
Nah, we'll figure it out.
All right.
I'll have it all cleaned up before she can see.
Yeah. Tonight's subject. Since I don't know if you've noticed, but we're in a new place.
In a new place?
We're in a new place. It might not look much different. Get out of here! What are you doing? I'm serious. Stop shooting those. You're cleaning this. Yeah, we're in a new place. I moved. We've been waiting a long time. Me and my wife, we were renting the last place, and while our house was getting built, and now it's made. We've moved in. It's been a long process, long time. We're here, and we got a lot of work to do. I think.
It's got my coffee.
There you go, right in your coffee. The idea for the future is that we can get our own room for Coral Living. Hopefully, we're going to build something in the basement that'll be cool. So if you stick with the show, maybe you'll be able to see the evolution of that pop up one of these days. We'll get maybe some art on these walls and stuff like that. And we'll get moving. But it brings me to the subject of this evening, which is the seasons of change. A lot has happened since we started this channel, and a lot has happened since I started filming in that place, and I moved to here, and it got me thinking about that. And when I moved, I actually had like a little bit of sadness in me. It was like, I could definitely feel it, and it got me thinking about this subject. Which I've thought about for a long time. Why do you think I'd be sad? Like, even though I've got the excitement of moving into a new home and all that, and it's not like I moved that far. I moved 15 minutes away from where I was living before. Why would I feel sad?
That you moved?
Yeah.
Because you're not used to it. You have to learn a bunch. You have to get used to it. It's different. It's not what you identify as just,
static, comfort, familiar. You know, it's different. So you have to.
You get used to something so much. You know, that's your comfort zone. Like whether you're working or you're out doing something, you always got that place that you can go back to and rely and depend upon, and you know that's like your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I guess I'm creating a new comfort zone here, but it's still difficult. It for the first it didn't even hit me. I think the first day. It was kind of like the second day after all the moving had been gone, all the people who helped move stuff, and it was just like in the house, just a family. I was like, oh, I feel kind of sad.
Yeah, but you must have anticipated that.
Yes. Based upon other events in my life where it was not as easy. I remember my first big move when I moved out of the home I was basically raised in, into my first home. That was very hard. I cried. So I was just like, felt sad. What a wuss.
Wiener.
No, it was that was sad because I had spent so much of my life in there. I felt like I didn't know anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I was always a place.
Yeah,
to
same
go
thing
to.
for me. When I don't know, we must just be pansies because the first time I moved out on my own, I think I had a little bit of I may or may not have shed some man tears.
Yeah, it's change is hard. I think if anything, it's brought me to kind of have a higher awareness of that and how it affects me. But it's not just when you move. It seems to seep into all the facets of life.
Mm-hmm.
It could be terrifying if you're moving, from a job that say you've done for 10 or 15 years, and all of a sudden you lost it, and then now you got to find something new. You got to move into something.
Even if it's good, even if it's a good change, it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit because you don't know what to expect. It's weird. It's almost like mundane, comfort zone things lead you into almost like a depression, or can lead you into almost like a lazy depression type state. And so that causes you to want to make a change, and then you make a change, and you're all of a sudden you're faced with either sadness because of the change anyway, or a little bit of fear. Is that what?
Yeah.
Where are we going with this?
Well, I think the idea is to not run from it, but give it the attention that it's due. It might be. Do you think it might be part of our natural inclination to avoid thinking about change, to kind of sweep it under the rug, because it seems to be the most inevitable elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to reality and life, it's gonna happen. It's unescapable.
Well, yeah. So I always found that I would almost get more frustrated resisting change. It's if you try to keep everything, if you're a perfectionist and you try to keep things from changing, that is a bad idea. That's going to make you more frustrated and upset than anything. In fact, it's the Buddhist way, right? Isn't one of the first principles of Buddhism, it roughly translates to life is suffering, but the thing that makes life suffering is attachment. So if you're attached to things and you don't want things to change, or you resist letting things go, that's going to cause suffering and frustration and the pain body.
Yeah,
Eckhart Tolle would say.
The pain body. Trying to keep everything in its place becomes, pretty tough on the psyche, and could you might blow your mind. So. It seems to be that. So what's the answer to that? Then just to let everything go and not get attached to anything? I think you're gonna get attached.
That's the gist. I'm pretty sure is that you have to learn you have to become a wizard of letting things go. You have to become a master at not being attached to anything. It's complete detachment, I think, which sounds like a psychosis of some sort, like a medical condition.
Well, one thing that kind of
disassociated.
just what you said there kind of like spoke to me. It might be getting the idea of things changing. I think it gives you a better appreciation, or should maybe speak to you in terms of appreciating the moment when you're in it. I feel like that, like, you know, I got a lot of things that I don't do right, but I feel like that might be one thing I think I've been good at in my life a bit, is appreciating a moment. When I'm at a special event, being like, wow, this is going to be like the only time I'm ever at this event, and then it'll be over and done, never to be had again.
Mm-hmm. But then again, I think see, it's all tricky, right? Everything's like super nuanced and tricky because if you're constantly like, oh shit, I gotta remember to be in the moment. Like, sometimes just be in the moment, you know? If you don't need to remind yourself to be in the moment because you're already in flow state, you're in the moment. But I know what you mean, like, you almost want to make a mental snapshot of things, and I think that I've got some memories that I remember forcing myself to remember that I hold with me. You know what I mean? Like, I can almost like time travel back to that moment because I made such a point of being in that moment and like noting and cataloging everything that was going on, so I can like, in my mind, I can go back to those moments more clearly than I could some day where I wasn't super present and making a note of it. But like anything else, I'm just saying, I think it could turn into like an obsessive compulsion to like be trying to do that.
You could try to like focus on like maybe doing some self-reflection and some focusing and narrowing down for you some of the things that are more important. I can see that has been kind of helpful for me. Whether, you know, just doing introspection or self-reflecting, I find, and thinking about the things that really matter to you, like you know, your family, your friends, the places that you're in. I've been doing that kind of like a lot lately, because take something as important as your kids. You know, they're everything is growing and changing right in front of your eyes, right? And one day they'll grow up and they'll move on, and I think about that and be like, man, that'll be a hard day when the kids start growing up and moving out. That is going to be hard, so I got to try and like make the best of this moment to appreciate what I have. Out of the big moments. Yeah, I'm not saying going through every tiny little thing.
You ever seen one of those moms that like you go, like no matter what's going on, they're constantly stopping everything that's happening to take pictures? It's like the kids are like, Mom! And it's like, we need memories. Like, that pays off in the end because it's nice to have photo albums full of memories, but it kind of screws the moment up a little bit. Like, sometimes it's good to just be in the moment without forcing yourself to be in the moment.
Totally hear what you're saying.
You know, like, how are you supposed to get into flow state if you're, like, paying attention to going into flow state?
Yeah, when it gets too, I hate that when it's like a never-ending photo fest of like, all right, get in front of this thing, get in front of that object, let's do the...
Look happier, come on, we want to remember how happy we were.
The kids' faces are like...
Yeah. I don't know. I'm the photo taker in our family. Like, Esther is not as much of a photo taker as me. I'm always doing little photo ops with our family, so I'm being a hypocrite. I can't even say much about it.
Yeah.
Pinning it on moms. I'm that person. But you know, I'm not the worst of it. You know, some people are pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's okay too. Teach their own, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how we got on that. I'm side railed. I'm off the track.
Well, with change, you can't talk about the most inevitable change. Probably the thing that everyone's the most scared of, trying to move away from or not think about, is the grandioso change from life to death. That's the thing, the unescapable
big
thing,
enchilada,
which is you know, down the pipeline, and maybe that has something to do with the reason why we don't like to think about change too much, or we try to just like I don't want to think about it.
It's all a big balancing act, because you don't want things to be too... There's a word I can't think of and it's driving me nuts. I keep saying mundane instead. But you don't want things to get too stagnant or whatever, but at the same time, too much change can be you know, it's like, there's too much change. I need routine. I need things to be the same for a while, you know?
Well, and that's why
Imagine if the next 5 years you were like every couple of months you were moving like you just did. You'd be like,
Oh yeah, it'd be hell.
it would be hell, right? Like constantly going through that. And it's, so you need like a home base. It's nice to settle down somewhere and get a routine going. But change is like the spice of life. Like you want things to be changed up. Pass me that crown real quick.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you don't want to just look at the same image, you know, for too long. You want it to switch up a little bit and a little flair here and there.
Get a crown on the head.
Yeah.
And well, you made a good point. That's why I kind of named this episode the seasons of change, because it seems to be that like usually after big change there tends to be some type of a resting moment where there's like things kind of fall into a groove, and it does really feel like seasons. You go through these seasons where it's
Or
like
phases.
Yeah,
Seasons or phases.
where there seems to be this period of like, you know, everything's it falls naturally into some place. And then over the course of time or whatever, things kind of affect it and change that ball of, you know, comfort that you're in. And then boom, another change comes and something, you know, affects you.
It's like the hero's journey, you know? There's all these phases and stages to the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And for some reason it's bringing to mind the story of Abraham being like 80 years old and then all of a sudden being called by God to go on an adventure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was in one phase of his life and then at 80 he's all of a sudden in like this adventure phase again. How many times do you go through a new adventure in your life? You know, in his story he was 80.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like there's a time for everything, right? There's kind of like even a, you know, I read or listened to the audiobook Iron John. They were talking about it was describing an ancient culture that one of the things they allowed the young men to do was go through like a 2-year period of doing nothing, where they would, you know, in preparation as they got older, it was like allotted to every man that you can have 2 years to be like a layabout, like a couch potato. They actually called them cinder biters because they would lie by pits of fire and chew ashes or something like that. But anyway, the point is they got like a huge epoch of time to reflect and kind of decide what they were going to do, you know, find out who they are, go through all like a long period of introspection.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I'm coming out of something like that. Like I was like a zombo for the last 2 years, you know what I mean? Other than coming here and doing the videos, you saw it.
Yeah.
I was like, you know.
So so there's maybe purpose or meaning or something important's happening within those changes, within those time periods.
You can become a bit like a hermit. You know, go into solitude, not full solitude, but you know, just kind of like a little more. Maybe the whole world just went through that.
Yeah, I know. Think about that. I was just, as soon as you said that, I was like, the whole world seems to have just gone into a time period of like reimagining itself now. Like it's going to be really fascinating to see what happens to the world now.
Yeah.
Now that we're in this spot, you know, it's going to be really
Some
fascinating.
people became hermits. Some people found their voice as crazy conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Some people.
Every family member got a conspiracy theory.
And yeah, people's identities radically changed over this past, you know, season of the past 2 years season of.
How have you changed? Right in the comments. What's the
Yeah.
big change that you've gone through? I don't know, man. It's hard for me when I think about it. Like what the last 2 years. I don't know. I think it's affected me more than I know. I hated when it was like you can't have people come over to your house. That like enraged me.
Well, because I was already in that kind of like catabasis, they used to call it. It's like a phase of your life of like going down. I literally geographically went down. I like went down into my basement and went into hermit mode for like 2 years, you know, and gained a bunch of weight. It was wild, you know, and then now it's like I'm coming out of the sepulcher, you know, or however you say that thing, re-emerging into life. And
I just wanted to get back together. I was driving.
I was so happy to not be around.
Driving me nuts. I was like,
Now I am. Now I'm like, I want to go to a concert. I want to be around people.
yeah, yeah, but I think it's hard to deny that the world is a different place now after COVID than pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And it'll be fascinating to see what happens to the world.
There's all
now.
kinds of stuff going on now.
Yeah.
The world's exploding in all kinds of different ways.
Yep.
Sorry, maybe it's too early to.
Yeah, so we're entering into a new season as a planet, individually, collectively, and I think giving it its due attention, this whole idea of seasons of change, I think to me it sounds like it's beneficial rather than ignoring it. That was why I kind of want to do a show. I feel like it's helped me when I think about the first time I moved. Or like hard things, like hard changes that I had to make, and I felt deep sadness over those changes. A lot of that deep sadness came from not preparing myself or not giving it any time to pre-think it, like think about it before it actually happened. I think you could probably, and I think you've already said this, that you can ease that suffering by just giving it some attention, just thinking through it and be like, appreciate it now in the moment. And accept it when it comes, and I think it'll serve you well.
I try to avoid shoulds and shouldn'ts. This idea of like, you should be this and you should be doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, let's see where my body, intuition, soul, and mind just kind of naturally want to go and see how that works. Because where the heck are all these shoulds coming from anyway, man? Society will jam a bunch of... It might be appropriate for you to go into some kind of dormant, hibernative state, and society's like, come on! And then the next thing you know, you're like sick.
But what I would say is that, okay, I don't think there's a right or a wrong to it. I can just... Maybe you should make these decisions based upon, your own individual person. But for me and my experiences have told me that winging things, not prepping, not doing anything, has usually ended up bad. Bad for me.
Yeah, and it's not everything is for everybody, and that's kind of like I'm coming to that conclusion that you can't, as much as it's nice to admire people and stuff like that and take notes from people. Ultimately, your life is, it's yours, and it's gonna have to be tailored to your proclivities and the way you are, Yeah. And there's something really twisted and messed up I find sometimes, which is like people will decide life or what's right and wrong is like written in stone and concrete, and this is how you have to do it, and then they will demonize you if you're doing something different. Like they'll constantly be reminding you about the importance of prudence and doing it this way, and telling you, constantly trying to give you advice, and then be angry and demonize people doing it a different way. It's like, listen, just because I'm the way I am doesn't mean I'm not happy that there's people totally different than me. I'm glad that there's people that do things a different way. That's why would you want a legion of identical people? You want variety in the world. And we've gone so far off of what the topic is.
It's okay. No, I think we're fine, and it's okay to sometimes go off the topic. Something you said just kind of got me thinking about. Like it's easy to focus sometimes on the negative sides of change, and there can be negative, but there's also so much beauty in change. Mm-hmm. Just take the whole concept of seasons of change, or not the seasons, although you might have your preferences. There's still a beautiful thing when the beauty of a visual winter, fall, spring, summer.
Our winters are way too damn long.
Yeah,
we live in Canada,
I could do with a little less winter myself.
Yeah.
But also, just take the world and life and history in general, all the change, all the things that have taken place through reality. It's amazing. Think about all the history we have, that we can go in and see how things have changed from the past, and the beautiful art that used to exist, from the lifestyles that were lived, from everything they wore and ate and did, to where we are now, and the idea of where we could go. all revolves around, I think, this idea of seasons of change, which seems to be a beautiful thing. If you really think, like, and you can get scared, like, oh, I want to keep it this way. I think that's, I don't know, that might be a problem. Like, trying to, like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of, like, adversity. Like, I am a bit of an idealist. Like, I'm like, there's like a pleasurable way to live. I just want to prolong that. I really like finding things novel and interesting and fun and pleasurable and hedonistic. I lean that way. You know, like, duh, everybody does, but it's like, I don't know, isn't there a way to kind of make that happen? It's like, why do people settle on, you know, well, you just hate math then. You just hate rationality in math if you can't see why it's absolutely pertinent and necessary for there to be horror.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want there to be bad stuff.
There's risk in change, right? This is where you get the whole, like, progressive versus conservative. Like, how does traditionalism maybe tries to keep the gold or the gems, and preserve some of the beauty and say, like, don't move so fast. You might be, like, watch out for what you might run into with all that progression so fast. And progressives on the other side of the spectrum, they feel more comfortable, at ease, willing to, like, oh, just let it go. We'll fix those problems when they fall into our lap. And so that's kind of like that battle you get between, like, the whole traditionalist and progressive idea in change. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you have anything you think is important to add to that when it comes to holding down things and trying to keep them the same versus letting them grow and expand and change?
Depends on how much you want to suffer.
What do you mean by that?
If you don't want to suffer, let it go. If you feel like suffering some more, hang on to it.
So do you think that it's like, so do you say that, like, being a traditionalist or someone who likes to hold on to old ways of doing things, that's
No, there's nothing wrong. Like, I think for me, it's good to arrive at a point personally where I can look at the different types of people, whether they're super conservative or they're crazy liberal, and see that they're all just stitches in a
crazy liberal. Crazy liberal?
No, I don't mean liberal is crazy. Yeah. What I mean is, like, extreme liberal or
extreme ends of both.
Extreme of either or.
Yeah.
You see their place in the like, I mean, they're all children of Mother Nature. They all emerged from the same source.
Yeah.
So they're doing their own thing. It's like sometimes people will be like, I'll say something similar to what I said, like, why can't everything just be awesome all the time? Somebody will be like, what if everybody had that attitude, Justin? I'm like, yeah, but everybody doesn't. They don't. And in fact, most people are frightened. A lot of people can be too frightened to veer away from things. And that's, it's good to be prudent and look out for the future. I'm not demonizing anybody that's like that. Yeah. Or traditional values, or even someone that literally is trying to stop me. If somebody's like sees me as a threat and is trying to stop me, it's like, fine, that's your job, and my job is to annoy you. Yeah. So we all make up the beautiful tapestry of life.
Yeah.
And
it's so
true. They oftentimes can't let it go. They're like, no, not okay. And I'm like, well, then you're gonna suffer.
Yeah.
And, like, I heard something just today that apparently emotions, if you don't fixate on them and keep returning them to thought, they only last about 60 seconds. Like a strong emotion of, like, sadness or fear or anxiety or something, or embarrassment. Like, within 60 seconds, if you just sit in it, and then when it's kind of winding up or like winding down, if you just let it go, use the Sedona method, check that out. If and you can just kind of like, can I let this go? Yeah, I can let it go. It'll actually depart from you. But if you keep rethinking about it, your cortisol levels go up and stuff like that, and then you, like, dredge up those old feelings,
Yeah.
So it is possible to let things go, and if you just sit there and you're like, wringing your hands angry at all the things you find wrong with life, like, you're doing it to yourself. There's got to be a more productive way to do these things, and try on a different perspective, and maybe some of the feelings people try to avoid aren't that bad. Like you were saying, you felt a little melancholy or something.
Yeah.
Right? But maybe you even mentioned it and I was just zoned out, but you can maybe even find the beauty in that. I can remember some times of change in my life where I'm like, I'm not quite happy and I'm not quite sad with this change, but like, this is interesting. This is like, whoa, significant, this feeling I'm feeling. You know, I'm just going to be aware of it and check it out. Like, it's not just pleasure, it's like a different kind of feeling that.
Well, when I was thinking about this, I was kind of, I don't know why this kind of came to me, but I was thinking of like trying to hold sand in your hand and like running through your fingers, not being able to control, and the loss of something, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's gonna change. I don't know why I got that image in my head just thinking about that. You're trying to hold on to something, but there's nothing you can do.
The clenched fist versus the open hand is powerful imagery. I've thought about that before, not with the sand. That's a good analogy, because it's like, either way, if sand represents time, it's running out of your hand, right? And maybe if you squeeze really hard, you'll be able to slow it down a little bit, but what's more comfortable, this or this? You know, like, you're gonna maybe have a better time if you just let it go, man. And
That's a good point.
Don't take that and be reckless with it and be like, I'm gonna treat my life like that. You know, we're all gonna die anyway. Sometimes you have to be able to hold paradox in your head and be like, oh, I see the point of that, but at the same time, I'm not gonna.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. No, it's good. Good point. So change. There you have it. The seasons of change. They come, they go. We gotta live with it. I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. I hope everyone here liked the show. If you did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like, hit the bell, lets you know whenever we release a new episode. And check all of our stuff in the description. Has all our stuff there, and even your new Tom Starfield stuff.
We'll try to get those out more frequently.
I know we premiered that at the beginning of the show this week. I think going forward, anything new, we'll just tap it on to the end of we'll close out with some Tom Starfield, our episodes here. So, everyone, thank you for joining us.
Coming up on the 100th subscriber.
Yeah, we're getting to the 100 subscribers. So share with your friends, subscribe. We got a special gift for our 100th subscriber. So get that, but make sure that you're logged into your YouTube so I can email you or so I can get in contact with you so I can send you your gift. But anyway.
Go back and watch all the old episodes for clues on what the gift is.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Everyone, until next week, stay spiritual.